Hi everybody, it's Christina Quick, the Tarot Biz Mentor here from the Profitable Psychic Divination and Business Academy. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about some really fun and exciting stuff. So if you've been following on this series that I've been doing about mediumship, we've talked about signs that you might be a psychic medium. I've talked about my childhood psychic mediumship experiences and some of these weird ghost stories that I have. We've also talked about what the difference is between a psychic and a medium. And so now you're probably wondering, okay, how do I start doing mediumship readings, or what kind of mediumship readings are even out there? Because honestly, when most people think about getting a mediumship reading, they just think about, like, you know, really famous people like Teresa Caputo or John Edward. I've seen John Edward many times, so you know, there's definitely room for that. And what that is, it's called gallery style reading. But also there's different ways that you can do it, and different tools and different methods that you can do mediumship readings as well. So this video serves to inspire you to kind of maybe think about different ways that you can do mediumship readings, and maybe if you already do mediumship readings, get out of the box a little bit and do some things that maybe you hadn't considered doing before. So the first you know, image that comes to mind about getting a mediumship reading is probably seances. Which seances are basically, like, there can be physical mediumship seances and there could be channeling seances, and those two are not the same thing, but we'll talk about that. So I'm going to talk about channeling. So most mediums that I know have the ability to hear spirits, and they can channel spirits. If you can hear spirits and other types of beings, then you are likely a channeler, which means that you can hear it and reinterpret it or recite it to the person, or even to yourself, whoever is receiving the mediumship reading, or whoever is receiving the communication from that spirit. You know, you can also do it in a way where you are doing automatic writing. So that's another form of channeling. So you can get out a piece of paper and a pencil or some colored pencils or something, and you can just close your eyes and just start, you know, scribbling on the paper. I like to start with a circle, clockwise circle, and, you know, then I will just let my hand kind of just start making its own formations. You kind of pull back your consciousness from your hand and just kind of allow it to do its thing. A lot of you probably actually do that already. You probably doodle things and, like, draw things and stuff like that. And you know, you could get messages that way, as far as, like, there could be pictures for you to interpret, there could be words, there could be numbers, there could be symbols, so many different things that spirits can communicate with us. But spirits tend to communicate with us first and foremost through pictures, because it's just the easiest, through universal, right? So you may hear a voice and you're writing down the dictation of that voice. You may feel a feeling and you're writing down how you're feeling. So really what it is you're interpreting psychic information and you're channeling the specific type of entity that you want to talk to. And I recommend channeling specific entities for new mediums rather than just, you know, seeing who's out there, because it can be kind of overwhelming when you do it that way, because there can be a lot of competing voices and it can be difficult to kind of pinpoint who and what you're speaking with. So I find that for new mediums, if you tend to stick to contacting spirits that you know, or calling them by name, you know, then you'll have an easier time deciphering what they're actually telling you. Otherwise, you can sit and do automatic writing, but it could be, you know, things that you're seeing. If you're seeing things clairvoyantly, you may be seeing pictures in your mind's eye and you draw those pictures down on a piece of paper. So, you know, automatic writing or just channeling in general, there's different ways to channel. Automatic writing tends to be one of the most popular ways of channel, but also channeling through the voice. Like Abraham, you know, Esther Hicks, that she channels Abraham and she channels through the voice. So yeah, that's an interesting way. It's probably the easiest way for new mediums to get into mediumship is through channeling. Number two, you could do scrying, which is not too far away from channeling and using some type of tool or third party to scry. But scrying's a little bit different. Most of us are going to think of a crystal ball, right? I have one. Most psychics have a crystal ball, especially professional psychics that I've met, if not just for the novelty's sake. But again, you can still utilize a crystal ball, and you can do it to do mediumship readings. You can also use just a bowl of water, preferably a dark colored bowl, and you can kind of scry and see like different images and see if any visions kind of come to mind. But it's a really cool way. Scrying is a really you can scry candle wax. You can actually scry anything, flowers, anything. You can scry, and when you do that, it helps you. All of these tools are really to help you shift consciousness. That is something that I've talked about through these videos quite a bit. Is mediumship is about shifting consciousness, tuning into different radio stations, right? You are the radio, so tune yourself into the different dimensions and different places, different times in space that you can receive psychic information from, right? So mediums really, they go outside of themselves. Really, they interpret psychic information on a more kind of like global scale. Another way, the third way that you can do a mediumship reading is actually through divination. Divination, you can use like tarot cards or oracle cards. I actually have a video on here on YouTube about how to do a mediumship reading with tarot cards. Okay, so check that out. I think it's like an hour-long video. It's very, very informative. Check that out if you are interested in that. But actually, there's a lot of misconceptions about how mediums, if they use tools, they're not actually mediums, and that's just simply not true. Not true at all. There's a lot of mediums, very successful mediums, very honest, authentic people that are full of integrity, that are mediums, that also use tools. So don't be scared about using tools. Don't listen to people that chastise people that say you can't be a medium and use tools. It's just simply not true. That's something they're projecting onto you. So if someone's ever told you that, don't believe them. Another way that you could divine is one of my favorite ways to do mediumship readings through divination is through radiomancy. Think about a person, think about a question you have for them, or just make that connection, right? It's all about the intention. I give you permission to connect with me. And so then turn on the radio and see what comes up, and listen to it for a good half an hour. See what song titles are coming up. See what themes are present. Sometimes you have to look a little deeper into it, but still, radiomancy is a really cool way to do mediumship readings that is not necessarily using like cards or runes or Lenormand or things like that. So the next way, the fourth way, is through psychometry. Now this is what we are going to see a lot in like movies. Psychometry is basically holding an object of great significance that either belongs to the person or relates to that person or has a strong connection to the person or spirit that we are trying to connect with. It doesn't even have to be a person. If you wanted to say channel Archangel Michael, something like that, and you have a little statue of Archangel Michael, you could hold on to the statue and channel, and that would be an anchor to help you channel Archangel Michael. But it could also be as like holding a sweater that they wore, or a blanket that they wore, or a piece of jewelry or something like that. And what that does is it helps you connect to the resonance of that person's spirit, or of that entity's energy, or their life force, if you would call it. Okay, so psychometry, really, really interesting. You could definitely do that. You don't even have to hold an object. You can do it with land too. So you could just be in the proximity of something. It could be something like land, or it could be like a restaurant that this person really liked, or something like that, and you go and you're near there, or you go inside there. Okay, so psychometry can be as small as holding a ring, and it can be as big as, say, a building, or something like that. So there's really no limits to psychometry, just as long as you are in proximity of something that was meaningful and has importance to the entity that you're trying to connect with. Another way, number 5, is through astral traveling. Now, there are many different ways to astral travel. You can astral travel unconsciously through your dreams. You can astral travel through shamanic journeying. You can astral travel through hypnosis. You can astral travel consciously by visualization. So there are many, many different ways that you can actually astral travel, and all are valid. So if you wanted to, one of the things I'm going to talk about in another upcoming video about like how to create boundaries and set up your spirit office is letting the spirits and entities know that you do not want to be contacted outside of when you consciously travel to your spirit altar. And you do that in your mind's eye by envisioning yourself going to that spirit altar. You astral travel there, okay? So that's a really good way to kind of set boundaries. But you can astral travel, and it's a really, you can do guided meditation, hypnosis. Like I said, there's a bunch of different ways you can do that. But you can certainly go to that other side through many different ways and receive psychic information that way. Now, the last one that we're going to talk about today is physical mediumship. And this is the one that freaks a lot of people out, but in my opinion, it's one of the coolest. So it's like channeling, but taking a step further, and that you actually invite the spirit to possess your body, or to possess your mind, or to if you're doing automatic writing, you invite the spirit to possess your hand, right? And it's usually trance-induced. There's many ways you can do trance-induction that could be as simple as like counting backwards from 100, or focusing on one image, right? There's a bunch of different ways that mediums program their mind to enter a trance-like state. But usually for physical mediumship, it could be as like a scent, like that was incense and smell in one word. It could be like an incense. It could be like a candle that you light. Okay, so whatever physical thing that you do in order to achieve that different state of consciousness, that's trance. Okay, and so physical mediumship is where you are actually inviting the spirit to take possession of your body. Now, I don't really recommend that for new psychics. That's something I would reserve that, and definitely not really do that on your own. I do think that a buddy system for physical mediumship is important, just in case you can't get yourself to snap out of that trance. Or, you know, there's a lot of things that could happen. You could have a psychotic break. There's a lot, there's a lot of things, okay? A lot of things to be aware of. But, however, physical mediumship is really neat. And if you have the pleasure of ever seeing anybody do physical mediumship, look into shamans in the Eastern and Asian continents and countries, because they have a really cool way of doing that, and it's very ceremonialized. People are kind of chosen to be mediums, and they do it through physical mediumship. So if you'd like more information on physical mediumship, let me know. Or if I would love to know, do any of these methods, are these ones that you actually use for doing mediumship readings? Are these methods that you are kind of curious about utilizing for mediumship readings? So I'd love to know what your experience is with these methods, and if you have any other interesting methods of talking to spirits and spirit entities, I would love to know in the comments below. I will see you in the next video. Bye.